Hey, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be ranking every single crane used in a pinball machine. Quite the oddly specific tier list, if you ask me, and you could argue quite the tier list made by someone on some sort of spectrum. You could argue. Some Yeah, cranes have been a thing in pinball for the last few decades, and they're not used too often. Just enough times for me to make a tier list. So I believe I've compiled every single crane that has been used in pinball history, but there's a pretty likely chance I've forgotten a crane or something that you could argue could be on this list, like a similar kind of mechanism that you could argue it kind of acts like a crane. I don't know. There's a lot of different approaches, as we'll see on this list. And I believe the first example chronologically, if I'm not mistaken, is Judge Dredd. Now, love it or hate it, this game is pretty packed with some pretty unique features, without a doubt. Very unique layout, and a lot of mechs and a lot of toys. And not all of it made it into the final production, or at least like the later runs. This Dead World mech, you could see how it has three kind of holes for balls to be loaded into, and that's where you were intended to lock your balls, and they would spin around casually as the game continues to play until you've locked three balls. And then this little crane, kind of claw crane, comes over, and I believe with the magnet picks the balls up and then drops them for a feed to your top left flipper at the start of multi-ball. Quite the show. It's a bit slow and probably a bit of a slog when when it's your 100th time doing it. I could imagine it's a bit slow, but I think it's visually very impressive, having all these balls slowly orbiting around this dead world, and then you got this crane picking it up. I think it's pretty sick. However, no, it didn't make it into the final release, so this one's kind of a bit iffy, in the regards of that. Not everyone experiences this when they play Judge Dredd. However, if you own a Judge Dredd, I'm sure you're aware that you can mod this kind of extra crane assembly in. You can mod it out, and then you can install some previous game ROMs and have it functioning as designed, which I have seen before, and it's pretty damn cool. I think right off the bat, it kind of sets the stage for how some cranes function as like a way to pick up the ball and move it to a different place, which you could argue like Johnny Mnemonic kind of has a crane in the hand, but I figured with Johnny Mnemonic, it's clearly meant to be like a glove, even though it might function like a pinball crane, kind of similar to this. So I figured we'll leave Johnny Mnemonic out. But Judge Dredd, I'm thinking, gets a solid B. Very visually impressive. It loses some points for not making the final cut, and also pretty slow, if I do say so myself. That Dead World is not the fastest thing. Next up, we could argue this one could or could not make the list. This is Demolition Man. This is the claw. Functions pretty similar to Judge Dredd. And so the ball, if you see there's this chrome little arm here, it rotates all around and picks the ball up, and it can drop it into 5 different spots. And pretty unique, as in it gives you 5 ways to feed the ball. I think there's at least one way to feed all 3 flippers directly, maybe. So one of them may feed the pops. They all have these unique wire forms and ball pads that come out of this claw, so it's very intriguing in that regard. And it's user controlled, so you can control where the ball kind of rolls, and that's how you pick. I think it's not necessarily your modes, but you can kind of pick modes, but rewards. Think of it similar to Adam's Family, as when you hit the chair, sometimes you'll get a full-on mode, and other times you'll just get like 9 million points. Kind of, you pick your rewards from the claw there, and it's a very satisfying shot into it. You hit this fat right ramp really late on your left flipper, and it goes all the way around the game and falls into this claw machine. However, this mech does. I've never seen one fully working, and it is left out of tournaments. As in the claw machine, I've seen is disabled in tournaments from a more of a, not necessarily from a functionality or a reliability standpoint, but more of a tournament kind of rules focus. I think it keeps everyone playing in the same order, which yeah, I guess it's cool. Pretty easy to exploit these rewards if you're just going for lock freezes, but I think I don't know why I don't gel with this one. I can really respect how many freaking ball paths they have hidden. Well, not hidden, but tucked into this one massive mech in the top left corner of the game. But I think how it works in the game, with there clearly being one award that is pretty damn lucrative, the lock freeze, and the rest of them not really doing much, or at least from my experience. I don't know. Like I'm not the most active Demolition Man player personally, but I think with how it's implemented in the game, it's a slow mech, and people don't understand it. They've never seen it before. They don't know they got to do the flippers. Isn't reliable, and who knows? Maybe that Dead World Judge Dredd isn't reliable, even with the mods and all that. But I don't know. I'm feeling C on this one. I find it quite just kind of a bit useless in the grand scheme of the game. I don't know why. That's just how I woke up today. Yeah, not feeling the Demolition claw. Breaks the flow of the game. However, I do really like it when you've got a super jackpot on that claw and you got to hit that fat ramp all the way into the claw machine. Yeah, that claw mech feels pretty damn good. And it's not even technically ever referred to as a crane. So on the crane tier list, it's knocked down just a peg in terms of crane formality. Next up, we have probably yeah, damn, this is a blurry image. I think it's because I've shrunk them all down on Photoshop and now I've blown them up. But this is Last Action Heroes crane. This crane is sick. I actually think this is one of the best cranes in pinball. You've got to hit this kind of inner orbit shot on the left here, and it feeds a vuck. It goes all the way around, hits a vuck, and it feeds this crane, and the crane holds it with a magnet, and then the crane slowly moves, and then it drops the ball, and I think it's sick. Like I really like it. I really like the shot that feeds into it. I think it's just pretty. I don't know, it's cool. It's massive. Like that crane swings around the whole game, and yeah, I think I'm not the biggest Last Action Hero player. I really haven't spent much time on it, but that crane is freaking cool. I don't really remember how it's implemented in the game. I know it's definitely tied into the multi-ball, and I'm I'm thinking S tier. I think it's cool. It looks like a earthly kind of crane, and it's sick. It functions well. I think it's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think with this list, cranes are just slow for the most part. We'll get there. Next up, back to Bally Williams. we've got the Junkyard Crazy Bob's crane. And yeah, again, just like Last Action Hero, this is based on a more commercial kind of crane style. And this is definitely the most unique crane that we've seen used in pinball. You have this like captive ball hanging on a chain, and the game can move the crane up and down. So because this captive ball is hiding a shot behind it, and you can hit this ball, and depending on how you hit it, you can hit these 3D sculpted cars, and that progresses you towards the multi-ball. And also, if you've got the ball swinging around, you can then sneak a shot in behind it for some super jacks. I think this is one of the best cranes in pinball. I think purely from an originality point of view, and it's not just some slow crane on a motor like we've seen previously. It has a captive ball tied into it, which is always very kinetically satisfying. It's the only other mech I've seen like this. The closest thing I can think to something like this is, I think, on some French game. I can't remember what it's called. Give me like 2 seconds to look it up. There's an upper play field, and it's not a crane. It's not even close. But it's like the only time I can think of something that's just hanging by a. Here we go. Space Hunt Hexa Pinball. I think it's French. They have this upper play field. Oh, perfect photo of it. Here we go. This is a picture of the upper play field on it, and this is the only time I can recall something similar to this Junkyard crane mech. It's literally just like 2 posts like dangling there, and then you can like smack it in it. I guess depending on where the post is positioned, you might lose the ball in that big hole. I don't know. Very, very unique upper play field. I don't know how it goes in execution, but I can respect the originality in this upper play field design. However, it's not a crane, so let's get back to the crane business. Junkyard, I'm thinking S tier. This is sick. Although fucks me off because I'm not good at the crane. I'm not good at smacking that ball into the cars, and I'm not good at sneaking a ball behind it for my super jackpots. But I can respect just the kinetic, the kinetic design behind it and the originality. I think it's just like awesome, without a doubt. Next up, we've got Batman. Oh, I take it back. Because we also have another crane that I was thinking about just before with Last Action Hero, and I'm trying to do it chronologically. I'm thinking about X-Men, the John Borg X-Men. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's like the ice ramp. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, the production quality on this channel is top tier. Look at this, researching on the video. Here we go. Here's an interesting picture of it. Showing it in action here. Here we go. So this is the 2012, 2013 X-Men, designed by John Borg, and here you can see this ice ramp only on the premium. Is typically always feeding your right flipper here, but is on a motor and will can divert the ball. And I think it's Mr. Freeze or something. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with this game or just the X-Men for that matter, but I think certain modes where the motor's constantly running, and if you hit the ramp at the wrong time, it might feed your flippers. This is kind of like the Last Action Hero one, but from a gameplay point of view, I think more interesting. I think the Last Action Hero one's pretty satisfying. That shot's very satisfying. Having the ball held with the magnet's very cool. Feels rewarding. It doesn't happen all the time. It feels like a real reward having the ball up there. I think X-Men from a gameplay point of view is pretty damn cool. However, it's not a crane. Not a crane. Loses points. I'm thinking X-Men on the crane tier list. I'm thinking A tier. Loses points because it's not a crane. I don't think they ever reference it as a crane. However, functions similar to a pinball crane could. And then we're going to get up to Batman. And so this Batman crane mech was originally used on the Dark Knight pinball in 2008. 2008, I want to say. And technically dates X-Men, but I'm talking about the Batman 66 one in particular because that's the only example I've played of it. This crane is sick. It is sick. It's got an actual ball on the bottom of it, and it feels very good to hit. The mode is super fast. You're not waiting seconds for this clunky-ass motor to go between the shots. There's lights that go with it. It's a cool mode. And how the mode's implemented, like want to hit all the shots, and then if you hit the crane, it will like reset the shots. If you're trying to maximize points, it's really cool because you don't want to then accidentally hit the crane or block a shot to not get the full potential out of your mode. And it feels good to hit. Looks cool. However, I do have a gripe, and that's when the crane is in its resting position. It blocks the main arrow insert for the right orbit, making it very hard to tell when something's lit on the right orbit. And once you played enough Batman, you get in the habit of ducking your head, oh, do I have that shot lit? I don't see anything else. It must be the right orbit, take a little peek under the crane. However, that's just bad design, man. What the hell? just move the insert down. I don't. Did no one's bring this up when they were testing the game? And another gripe is that sometimes the crane can accidentally catch the ball in its little resting spot and store it there, which can confuse casual players, as I've seen in the past. But definitely in terms of gameplay, I think I prefer this to Junkyard, just as a player, not as a design analyst, nonsense guy. I think Batman 66 is probably the funnest crane to shoot without a doubt, and it's nice and zippy. It's fast. It feels good. You've got a ball, which just adds to the pinball feel of it. However, blocks the insert and sometimes leads to the ball getting stuck. We're chucking it in A tier. I'm now this shows my inexperience with Last Action Hero, because I have a feeling that crane malfunctions a lot, and I've just never witnessed it because I've only played the game 5 times in my pinball career. I think just because I like that orbit shot so much, and gets some bonus points, and it's quite the spectacle. And lastly, we have arguably the most advanced crane in pinball history. We have Heist for the P3. This is pretty advanced. This crane here, you can see can extend forward, can rotate back. It's got quite the range, and it can be lowered onto the playfield level, so you can smack it, or it can be lifted up and drawn back out. It's got quite the cubic range. I don't know if that's the right term, but it's now I've played a lot more Heist than I have Junkyard, Dredd, Demo Man, Last Action Hero, X-Men combined, right? I'd say the only game I've played more than Heist on this crane list is Batman 66. So I've had a lot of experience with this crane. To also bring up this feature, it can pick the ball up with a magnet and you can hit the ball off of it. As advanced as this crane is, it is slow, it is clunky, and sometimes fails to register. It's leaves you locked out of the game, or at least that particular section of the game. I don't know, man. This it very rarely works as it should. It usually slows the game down, confuses me, feels awful to hit. P3 flippers don't feel great to begin with, so you know we've already got a crane on a not a failed, but on a pinball platform where it's not the most fun to shoot, doesn't feel the greatest to play already. However, I can respect the design and I can respect that this is probably the most advanced and feature-filled crane in pinball history. So I'm thinking B tier, and I'm also going to drop Judge Dredd and Demo Man down one spot. I think that's pretty fair. I'm also moving Last Action Hero down because I like the shot and but I think I really like the crane spectacle, but I think from a gameplay point of view, I much prefer Batman 66. As much as I give it crap for covering that insert and trapping the ball from time to time, I think it is way more fun to play. Has good rules around it. Same with Junkyard. And Last Action Hero is cool. It's A tier. It's A tier. It's just not as good as the others. Yeah, all right. I think that's my my crane tier list. Feel free to mention any potential cranes I missed. There's a decent chance I missed one or two, or anything you could argue is a crane similar to like the ice ramp on X-Men or the Demolition Man claw. Kind of have similar crane functionalities. If you can think of anything that functions similar to anything on this list, let me know, because there's a decent chance I probably missed maybe a couple things. However, this is my official crane pinball tier list. All the cranes that I can think of in pinball on the crane tier list. And yeah. It's just been a fun video. I'll if you're keen to see more pinball tier lists like this, or if you have any suggestions for other kind of returning mechs or themes that cross multiple games in pinball, I was thinking like cannons. You know, Steve Ritchie has a lot of cannons in his games, like Terminator 2, Star Trek, and AC/DC. Thinking of ranking all the cannons like that, and even catapults. Just things like that that kind of are on different games that I can rank like that. And yeah, leave a comment telling me your crane tier list. I'd love to hear it. This has been way shorter video than the rest that I've recorded, and it's quite nice. All right, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.